What's so funny?
Thinking of a joke.
Do you want to tell it to me?
You
Pete Davidson's here. I'm appalled that people would come here and make jokes about the sacrifice Pete's heroic father made on 9/11. This is not the roast of Pete Davidson's father. That was in 2001.
Oh, that was dope.
Wow, this is crazy. I'm actually leaving home, like, for more than a day, okay? It's crazy because I used to run away a lot, be out there on them streets, and now I will barely leave the house. I have my groceries, clothes, whatever I need delivered. I still pay for my gym membership, even though I bought a treadmill so that I don't have to go. And even when I had a car, I would call the guy and have him come here to wash it because I didn't even want to drive there. I don't go anywhere. I'm a recluse. But now that I'm making these videos, I gotta get footage of stuff that's more interesting than me sitting and writing and editing. So I am hitting the road with my bestie, driving from Florida to Ohio, and it should be a good time, right? I'm calling this the Great Escape. But what exactly am I escaping? Did I escape the world for this cocoon of creativity in my mind and in my home? Or am I escaping this cocoon for the world outside? Or maybe I'm escaping both, an escape from an escape from an escape. And so it is with laughter, the same confusion. If Mark Twain said laughter is our only weapon in this world, and the consensus is that it's the best medicine, what exactly are we using laughter to ward off? And how is it doing it? What makes it so powerful? Well, when thinking about that, I decided to start with the person who's perhaps most famously associated with laughter. And no, I don't mean on just a couple of continents. I'm talking about on just about all of them. The Joker. From peekaboo with a baby to jokes involving painful experiences like the ones this series is focused on discussing, the single most important ingredient you need to induce laughter is the element of surprise. Something unexpected needs to take place. And according to the Joker, whose wife and unborn baby were unexpectedly killed, we're all just one bad day away from being just like him. Someone who gets that this life is all one big joke.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a fucking comedy.
When hurt by life, is laughter our weapon or medicine to combat a broken heart? A way of warding off or escaping the pain? Or is that madness?
Tell me what I'm doing here! Somebody!
Doing? You're doing what any sane man in your appalling circumstances would do. You're going mad. When you find yourself locked onto an unpleasant train of thought, headed for places in your past where the screaming is unavoidable, remember this. There's always madness. You can just step outside and close the door on all those dreadful things that happened.
Has the whole world gone mad? Well, The Joker being the first R-rated movie in history to gross $1 billion is certainly saying something. But the difference between the Joker, who counted himself mad, and most people, including most comedians, is that the Joker laughed at the painful events themselves, while those of us who aren't in padded cells laughed at what we were able to do with them.
How do you do it? I think it's that I look at my whole life and I see the awful, terrible things in my life and turn it into something funny. It just happens.
We create a new perspective, a new narrative, a new story, maybe even one where we're not a victim. At some point, we can stop laughing and tap back in and address the pain of disturbing events if needed. But why laugh like a madman to begin with?
So it distracts me. I'm a big fan of distraction because I feel the situation is irredeemably grim, bleak, unsolvable, and absurd. And the only thing you can do, like in Hemingway's story, The Killers. And he says to the guy, well, gee, it's terrible. It's horrible. And think about it. He says, well, don't think about it.
So is that it? Is laughing at what we're able to create out of painful experiences purely a distraction from a painful, at times, existence? Is it nothing more than a brief reprieve, an opportunity to catch our breath in a world that's capable of beating us down to a bloody pulp? Well, that sounds more like a corner chair in a boxing ring than the fist of a weapon that Twain likened laughter to. And if temporary numbness to issues was its offering, wouldn't the consensus be that laughter is the best anesthesia, opposed to a medicine which cures? Or maybe the answer can be found in looking at things in another way. Maybe laughter is a weapon or medicine that's powerful, not for the things that it can ward off, like pain, but for the things that it can create, like a reminder that life is temporary, and as such probably shouldn't be taken that seriously to begin with. As well as bonds between us humans, which remind us that we're all innocently in this thing called life together.
You know, it's funny. This reminds me of a joke. See, there were two guys locked in a lunatic asylum. And one night they decided they didn't like that anymore. They decided to escape. So they made it up to the roof, and there, just across this narrow gap, they see rooftops stretching across town, stretching to freedom. Now, the first guy, he jumps right across, no problem. But his friend, oh, no way. He's afraid of falling. So the first guy, he has an idea. He says, hey, I got this flashlight with me. I'll shine it across the gap between the buildings, and you can walk across the beam and join me. But the second guy says, what do you think I am, crazy? You just turn it off when I'm halfway across. Oh, excuse me.
But in creating those bonds, is there a difference between a person who just appreciates a good joke and a joker who tells one? Stay tuned.